Hey everybody, welcome back to Darrell Lopez. Today we're going to talk about tattoos and the meaning behind my tattoos. Usually there's three questions that people ask me. Number one, who does my tattoos? How many do I have? And does it hurt? What I tell people is this. When you get a tattoo, depending on what part of your body it gets, that's the severity of the pain. It doesn't tickle, I'll tell you that. It's kind of like getting a snake bite or like a rug burn. It kind of has like that kind of a sensation. The very first tattoo that I got was the face of the Madonna, the Greek goddess, and that was in San Antonio, Texas, during basic training. It was our day that we can go out with our families. It was toward the end of our basic training before we went to tech school. And my dad said, "Well, what do you want to get?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to get a tattoo." So he took me to a place. I'm not quite sure the name of it, but it was across the street from the Alamo. And I didn't know what I wanted. And then my mom was looking through the folders and whatnot, and it was one of those typical tattoos that you look in a folder. Oh, I want that one. The second one that I have is Gonzo, and that's on my right forearm. And that's one of the ones that I regret. I don't regret a lot of them, but this one right here I do regret. I was in the service. This time I was at Holloman Air Force Base, and I got it in the Old English lettering because I thought it was cool. And now that I'm 37, I think it's stupid as shit, and I wish I can get it taken off. Because where it's located is kind of where I have my Blackhawks theme sleeve. So it's kind of just sitting there. And I want to get it tattooed over with the Sears Tower or the Chicago flag. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's kind of difficult because it's in black and it's actually scarred up. I went to reach for my pistol. I was security forces in the military. Went to reach for my pistol, and before it was healed up, I scraped against my uniform belt, and it pulled the ink. So now it's scarred up. It sucks, but yeah. The next one I have is Gonzalez, my last name, and that's on my back. That one was a free tattoo, and the guy told me, he's like, "I'll do your last name," and I'm like, "Okay, this, where should I put it?" And like an idiot, I put it on my back. So yes, I've had tons of prison jokes about, if I go to prison, at least they'll know my name when they're hitting it from behind, this stupid shit like that. I have Bobby Hall on my right arm, and the reason why I got that, he's one of my dad's favorite hockey players. Played for Chicago Blackhawks, and the picture that I chose was with him with the puck that says 50, because he was one of the first players in NHL history to score 50 goals in one season. So it was I kind of did that like in memory of Bobby Hall, even though he's still alive, but because it was a player that my dad liked, and that was the start of my Blackhawks sleeve. And then I went to the convention, a Blackhawks convention, and his brother saw it, and he's like, "Hey, come over here to the to this meet and greet, and I will show Bobby and see if he'll sign it." So Bobby Hall actually signed my arm, and then I had it tattooed over. Again, I'm a big Blackhawks fan, and so I have the crest, I have the numbers from when they won the first Stanley Cup of all the guys that were on the ice. I have the Stanley Cup, and the crazy story about the Stanley Cup that I have on my arm here. So I told the guy, I want the Stanley Cup. He's like, "All right, cool, we'll get it done." He gets a picture out. I didn't even pay any mind to it. He had the original Stanley Cup that was a bronze, which now the Stanley Cup right now is silver. So when he's tattooing it, I look over and I see yellows and oranges and browns, and I'm like, "What the hell? It's supposed to be silver." And I look, and it's like, son of a bitch. That is my fault. Not his fault. That's my fault for being a paying customer who was not paying attention to what he was doing. I told him Stanley Cup. He got a picture of the Stanley Cup. Was I pissed? Yes. Was it at him? No. And then for another Blackhawk, I met Jeremy Roenick just last month, and I had him sign my arm, and and then I had that tattooed over also. So I would like to get some other autographs on there, but we'll have to wait and see. So the next tattoo I have is the Anonymous mask, or Guy Fawkes. I can't pronounce his name, so sorry about that. But I love the movie V for Vendetta. And then also for Anonymous, it's more about having your own ideas. And there's a slogan, "Ideas are bulletproof." And I actually wanted that under the mask but it wouldn't have looked right. And I'll explain my other tattoo why that wouldn't have looked right. But ideas are bulletproof, and to me, that just means that you are who you are, and especially now you have all these snowflakes and everybody that's trying to censor what what you say or what you think. I have a cross on my left arm, and I wanted to do something kind of religious. I'm not a religious person, but I like the idea of having the cross and the rocks. And there was a saying in Stigmata, and I think it might be in the actual Bible, I don't know, but it was like, lift a piece of wood, or move a rock, lift a piece of wood, some crap like that. I can't remember. I was just in that zone during that time period, I guess. And so I got the thorns on there, and I just never finished it. So underneath the cross is a tattoo of feet, and it says Mallory Grace, which is my niece, or my goddaughter, and she was stillborn. And my sister wrote out her name, and then I had it tattooed on there. It was just kind of a memorial thing for my sister. So, going back to the cross, I actually have the initials DG, which stands for Darrell Gonzalez. That's in memory of my uncle who passed away. He had it tattooed on his hand, between his finger and his thumb. So the next one that I have is, you don't always know where you stand till you know you won't run away. That's a verse from Slipknot. I'm a big Slipknot fan. And the problem with this one is kind of like going back to what I said about ideas are bulletproof, and how if the tattoo artist doesn't do it a certain way, it can actually scar up, and you can't really see what it, read what it says. And that's kind of the problem I had here. I went to a gentleman, and he was an apprentice, and I'm like, well, you got to practice somehow, or with someone, so go ahead and practice on my arm. And so I have it on there, and I mean, you could read it, but it could, it's a little scarred up. But I like this saying because it basically, you keep, you can always run away from your problems. It's till you stand there and you face your problems head on. Then that's where you need to be in life. So the next one is on my wife Barbara, and it's done in the Day of the Dead theme. And on the side of her is a picture of a tombstone, and that was it has our wedding date on there because that's the day that I died. That's what I kept joking around about. And I told her if we ever got divorced, I'd just make her into a zombie. The Thundercats theme that I have on my leg is of Lion-O and Mumra, and then the Thundercats logo. I'm a big Thundercats fan. I have been since I was a kid. I'm 37 years old now, and I still watch the cartoons and the newer version of the cartoons. I always wanted to get a Thundercats tattoo, and so I told my boy, I'm like, let's do one of Lion-O, and he was like, well, let's just do a full kind of like a sleeve, half sleeve, whatever, on your leg, and we'll go from there. So like I said, one side's Lion-O, one side's Mumra, and then I have the logo, the actual Thundercats logo on the back of my leg. I guess if I had to say which one hurt, it would probably be Lion-O, because he put a lot of detail in there, and it was on the inside of my leg. So again, it didn't tickle. So like a lot of military members, you get the branch that you served in tattooed on your body. You have a lot of Marines, a lot of Air Force, a lot of Army. Each specific one has their own logo. I got the Air Force logo tattooed on my leg because obviously that's what I was in. With they're supposed to be dog tags, but I'm not going to put my social security number on there, obviously. But that's another one that I wish I would have went to somebody who was a better tattoo artist. Some of these I did was early in my tattooing, I don't want to say career. I don't know how to explain it. I went to some shady tattoo artists back in the day. I'll put it to you that way. And I just look at it now, and it's like, I wish I could have went to the guy that does my tattoos now, because the ink's kind of faded, and but it represents my time in the Air Force. Best time of my life. I love it. It was a great experience. I recommend the military to any of you guys. So one of my tattoos that I get asked a lot of questions about is actually by an artist named Derek Hess. And you should check out some of his stuff. It's fantastic. But there was one in particular that I liked, and it kind of looks like Jesus hanging from the cross, and it has a heart in the middle. But on the bottom of it, I wrote "Believe." And what I did was, I liked. I had an old Marilyn Manson shirt that said "Believe," but then it said "LIE" in bold letters, in red letters. And I remember my parents hating that shirt because it was like "Believe in the lie." And it goes back to me being a Catholic and There are certain things that you're taught to believe that you look back now and it's like, what? It's all lies. So I have the Stanley Cup on the back of my leg that I designed, and it has Jonathan Taves and Corey Crawford in it, and it was the outline of the Stanley Cup, as you can see, and then like I said, I added those two in there. That one didn't feel too good, again, because there's a lot of detail in it. My friend did a great job with it, but again, being a big Blackhawks fan, I had to get it. So yes, I have 2 Stanley Cups on me, but I mean, I could always add more. So on the center of my chest is Guadalupe, and the reason why I had Guadalupe is because that's my confirmation name. I hate to say it's stereotypical Hispanic tattoo, but it was one of those things, again, living in Texas at the time, for the military, seeing everybody else having it. I was like, I'll get it too. That one right there did not feel very good, because the tattoo, it's on my sternum, so that vibration from that needle on your sternum, that son of a bitch does not feel very good. It made me sick to my stomach, actually. I have a tattoo of a mother and a child, and to me that symbolizes your love for any woman in your life that has raised you, whether it be your mom, your stepmom, maybe a sister, maybe an aunt. You will always have that love from them. The problem with this tattoo, and again, this is about me going back to shady ass people that do tattoos, is that the little kid looks like fucking Chucky from Child's Play. That's what I joke around about it. It's like, I don't like this tattoo. I want to get it covered up, but I just haven't found anything to cover it up with yet. I'm not in a hurry to get it covered up, because I mean, my shirt covers it, but every time I take my shirt off and I see it, I'm like, God damn, that's an ugly ass tattoo. I have some roses that have my parents' names in them, Robert and Kelly, over my heart, and it was basically just, in honor of them, and I don't know why I got roses. I honestly don't know why. Again, it was just one of those things, being in the service, having money to blow when I should have been saving it. I was like, hey, let's get these roses with my parents' names in it. I like the meaning, but I just don't really understand why I got the roses. So the next tattoo is in memory of Alana. It's 2 hands with the rosary beads. Alana was my sister that passed away from SIDS. The rosary beads are in purple because that's my sister's favorite color, her twin. I'm not sure if it still is, but that was her favorite color. So the other tattoo that I have from my favorite rock group or metal group, Slipknot, is of Clown. I have always liked his masks, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get that tattooed. So, but here's the thing: when people see it, though, they see the 666 and automatically think it has to do with the devil. Yeah, it doesn't. Not to me, anyways. It's just a picture. Like I said, I like the mask, but people jump to conclusions and think I'm a devil worshiper, and yeah, stupid. The last one that I'll talk about is actually a picture of my dad, and it has the W on the side of it for the Chicago Cubs win. This picture was taken, it's a picture of my dad and my grandpa, but we didn't have enough time to do my grandpa, and I don't know if I could sit through another 4 or 5 hours of doing his face. But it was when the Cubs won the World Series, that was the picture that I took during that game. So now I have a picture of my dad on my side, and that's what it symbolizes. So 20, 30, 40 years from now, I can always look at my dad and remember Game 7, Chicago Cubs win the World Series. So in my advice for those who are wanting to get a tattoo, make sure you go to a tattoo artist who you look at their shop and the cleanliness of their shop, because you don't want anything dirty. You don't want your tattoo to get infected. You don't want somebody who's reusing needles, because it's against the law and it's just freaking gross anyways. But you don't want any shady tattoos. And with that being said, you're going to pay money for a tattoo. Like when I did photography, and I would charge $100 for something, for a picture, and somebody's like, well, I'll go to John Doe because they're only going to charge me $20. Okay, but the quality of work is not going to be that good. Same with tattoo artists. Yeah, you're going to pay some money, but it's worth it because the quality of work is going to be better. Should be better, I should say. listen to your tattoo artist. If they're trying to teach you or tell you how to clean your tattoo, don't listen to a friend of yours who has 50 tattoos, because their body might react differently to how they clean it. Their body might react differently to the ink that's being used. There's some. I had somebody use ink on me, and my tattoo was patching up. Like, I was getting scared, like I caught something, because it was nasty. But it was the ink that he used. It took longer for it to heal. Now, with that being said, also, if you're a diabetic and you get a tattoo, expect it to take longer to heal. Pick a photo or a picture or a design that you truly love. There are some tattoo artists out there that's like, okay, we'll pick something off the wall, and some of that shit's, you're gonna pick a heart with an arrow through it. You're gonna meet 500 other people that have a heart with an arrow through it. So make sure that the tattoo you get is original to you, something that you won't regret getting, in 10 years, 20 years, like I do with my Gonzo tattoo. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks.